Hello friends, yes, today I am going to discuss Python and Hadoop basics, and I will use like a apply here Spark machine learning. So I will try to cover each and every things. So first, what is the Python? Python is the basic, it is a programming language, and just Python provides us two mode of running a program using interactive interpreted promote prompt, and another is the using a script file. So interactive interpreters prompt Python give us functionality, functionality to execute a Python statement at the interactive prompt one by one. So in the case where we are concerned about the output of every line of our Python program. So we are using at present. So if you see here, like the so many interpreter prompt has been, you can download it your systems and you can work. Second, using a script file, the interpreter's prompt is a good at running the individual code statement. We cannot write the code on the terminal anytime. Python variable is name used to refer the locations of the memory, also known as identifiers, and used for holding value. And these days we are using a Python 3.11 version. Identifiers naming variables, example identifiers to identify the literals used in a programming, and identifier is used. Rule naming and identifiers are set out like the some characters. Underscore is the first characters the variable must have, and the alphabet and underscores, and all characters except the first character can be the lower cases a to z, upper cases a to z, underscore digits. Name of the identifier is like a other way we try to understand. So these are the basics, and we can get, suppose we are writing a and b and print a, print b, we can get a output. It's numbers, so different type of the numbers in the Python we'll see. Tuples is the other numeric value, dictionary. Python keyword here the special reserved keywords that convey the compiler's interpreters a special meaning. So each keyword has a particular meaning and particular operation, so you cannot use those keyword variable the list of Python keyword like true, assets, else, globals, range, non-local, false, diff, finally, for, try, in, none, class, elf, if or not, and continue, delete, from, return, each, as, break, except, import, pass, lambda. These are the fixed keyword. And as such, this keyword is used in a Python as debugging tool. So the code is checked for correctness. It raises an assertion error. If any error has been founded in the code, and it also print an error message. So most assertions error means divided by 0 error def. It's the class, so the Python use represent the class. The class is an object and blueprint, so it is a variable collections and methods to consider the class. So many like a class, my class, def functions underscore name self. Continue, it is used to stop actual iterations, executions. Consider example. So you try to learn like mm, basic Pythons, but identify the operators and other things just. So otherwise, it's not easy to understand the other things. So let's do next. Just after, if you have complete your basic programming language like a Python and other language, then we need to understand like it's a big data. So in the big data, we are talking about the big data, the basics of the big data like a Hadoop with the HDFS, MapReduce, Yard, Hive, HBase, Pig, Scoop, etc. So Hadoop, what is the Hadoop? Hadoop is a framework which is a open source. The processing and analysis of very huge volume of data it provided by Apache, and it's written in a Java and used by Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Yahoo, Twitter, and so on. So big data is called data which is a very large in size. So we normally work MB size data like a Word documents and Excel, maximum GB movie codes, but the data in petabytes is called a big data. It's a 10 to the power 15 byte size. So it's a started with the most than 3 year nearly like a 90% of the today's data has been generated. So big data, these data comes from the many sources like a social networking sites like a Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, and all these sites generated. Another is the weather stations. Third, we can say the e-commerce. Fourth, you can say share market, and fifth, you can say the telecom company. Just we are discussing the big data means we try to understand three V's. V means variety, so data are now not stored in a rows and columns. Data is a both a structure and a structure. CCTV footage, log files is unstructured data. Data that can be saved in tables are structured data. So as the bank's transactions data, so these are called a variety. Velocity means data grows at a very fast rate. So the volume of the data is estimated to double in every 2 years. So volume means quantity of data. We handle a very large like a petabytes. So these are uses in the different solving. Now the issue in the big data is the enormous amount of unstructured data that has must be stored and processed to process and analyzed. Solving like a processing like a map to find required output. The paradigm reduce is applied to a data distributed over a network. Storage Hadoop uses the enormous amounts of data. HDFS means Hadoop Distributed File System, which use commodity hardware to form clusters and store in a distributed manner. It works once on a write, reading and reading the principles many times. Cost means Hadoop is the open source, so the costs are not problem anymore. Analyze means data can be analyzed using a big hive. So we can analyze with the big and so one question has been asking searched what is Hadoop. Hadoop is a Apache open source framework and use a store process and analyze data that are very large volume. It is used by a Facebook, Google, Yahoo, Twitter, LinkedIn and the many more for batches offline processing. Hadoop is written in a Java and not OLAP means analytical processing online. It can also scale up merely by adding nodes to the cluster. There are some modules like a yarn. So yarn, another resources negotiator, is used for the job planning and cluster management. Other is the HDFS. Google published its GFS paper and was developed based on HDFS. It's, it states that over the distributed architectures, the files are broken into blocks and stored in nodes. HDFS Hadoop means distributed file Hadoop distributed file system. Hadoop common means the Java library and they are used to start the Hadoop and other Hadoop modules are used for this. MapReduce means this is a framework. It helps Java program that it uses key value pair to do parallel data computations. The map task takes a data from an input and converts it into a set of data that can be computed in key value pair. Architectures means the Hadoop architectures is a file system package. So MapReduce engines and HDFS Hadoop distributed file system package. MapReduce motor may be either the MapReduce MR1 or Yarn MR2. Hadoop clusters comprise single master and several slab nodes. The master nodes include job tracker, task tracker, name node, data nodes, while data nodes and task trackers are included as the slab nodes. So HDFS it contains architectures which is a master and slab which this architecture consists of single name nodes. The name nodes and data nodes are both capable of running on commodity machines. HDFS developed using the Java language. So any machines which supports the Java language, it can easily run the software name node and data node. So what is the data node? So there are the multiple data nodes with the HDFS clusters. Each data nodes is composed of several data blocks. Those blocks of data are used to store data. Open instruction from name nodes. It perform block creations, deletions and replications. It is a data node responsibility to a read write request from a client within the file system. Name nodes, there are the single master server in the clusters of HDFS. Since it is a single nodes, it may become the reason for the failure of one point. It simplifies the system of architectures. It manages name space of file system by performing an operations such as opening, renaming and closing the files. Task trackers, the job trackers, it works like a slab nodes. It receives a job tracker, task and code, and uh, applies the code to file, may also called a process mapper. Job trackers is a role to accept a client map reduce job and process the data name nodes. MapReduce layers. So MapReduce comes into being a which job tracker submitted the MapReduce job to the client application. The job tracker sends the request to respective task track in response. Task trackers sometimes fail or time out that portion of the job reschedule in such a case. Advantage: cost effective, it's a map effective, scalable, fast. So these are the basics here. There are the some Hadoop modules. Hadoop comes with the distributed system of file names is the HDFS and not low literacy data access, so not use the HDFS, and very large files to use an HDFS. HDFS concept blocks. A block is the minimum amount of the data it can read or write. So HDFS blocks by a default is a 128 MB and it's configurable. File HDFS are broken into a block size crunch and which is a stored independent. Unlike a file systems, if a file is in HDFS is smaller than a block size, does not occupy full block size. So HDFS block size is large only to minimize search cost. Data nodes means when told to by a client or name nodes, they stores retrieve. Name nodes HDFS controller and manager. It's known as status and metadata of HDFS file. Metadata information is file permission name, location of each block. HDFS should initially like a formatted and then started a distributed mode. So format like if you put here the dollar symbols Hadoop name node slash format, and to start like a dollar symbols start slash dfs dot hs basic file, and you can operate like this. So it's a so many commands for the HDFS also, don't worry. It's a feature like HDFS features like it's a replications, high scales, distributed data, storage, fault tolerance. It's goal hardware failure handling. So the HDFS includes multiple server machine. Anyhow, if a machine fails, the aim of HDFS is to quickly recover it. Coherence model, access to streaming data. It's a general purpose. It is used like a general. Next is the yarn. So it the another resource manager takes the programming and to the next above the another programming and makes it interactive to allow the another applications. So different yarns applications can coexist on same cluster. So the map reducing HBase Spark can all run in the same time, bringing a great advantage for the manageable and cluster use. So components of yarn like a client to submit a job to MapReduce, resource manager resource utilize access a cluster, MapReduce master applications check a task that run the MapReduce job, the application master and task of MapReduce run in continuous planned by the resources manager and managed by the manager of the nodes. Node manager for startup and monitoring the computer containers on cluster, job trackers and task tracker were used to provide a version of Hadoop which was responsible for resources handling and progress management. So we are using approx like a 3.1 something. It's a benefit like a multi tendency. So different MapReduce versions can run on a yarn, making a MapReduce upgrade process more manageable. Scalability means MapReduce the one hits bottleneck accessibility at the 4000 nodes, 40,000 tasks. Yarn designs like a 10,000 nodes in and 1 lakh tasks. Hadoop map reducing data processing tool, which is a user distributed from the process. The data parallel based paper titled MapReduce Simplified Data Process on a Large Clusters. It was developed in 2004, published by Google. MapReduce is a two-phase paradigm, the phase mapper and the phase reducers. So the input is given in the mappers in the from the key value pair. Mapper output is fed in as input to the reducer. The reducer only runs after the mapper has input. Reducer takes input in key value from 2 and the reducer's output is end result. So map reducers means the Hadoop architecture use the output of map to apply the sort and shuffle. This sort and shuffle acts on this list of pair like a key value and send out unique key and list of value associated with that unique key list like a value. Sort and shuffle. So when the mapper task is complete, the result will be sorted by key partition if multiple reducers are present and then written to disk. So you can say here like here first map reduce uses. It can be used different application such as documents clusterings, distributed storage, reversals and web link graphs. It can use a multiple environment of computing such as multi-clusters, multi-cores, mobile environment. Google use to regenerate Google World Wide Web Index. It can use searching and distributed patterns. Machine learning too, we can use MapReduce. So MapReduce data flow, MapReduce calculate the enormous amount of data. MapReduce data flow phase like an input reader. The input reader reads upcoming data and split it into relevant size like a 64 MB, 102, 120 in 8 MB. Each data blocks has a map functions associated with it. Once the data is read, the corresponding key value pairs are generated. So map functions, the map function process the next key value pair and generate the corresponding key value pairs for output. Partition functions, the partition functions assign a corresponding reduce to the output each map function. Shuffling and sorting, so the data is shuffling between within the nodes so that it moves out of the map and gets ready for reduction function. Reduce functions means each unique key is assigned the functions reduce. Those key are in a store order and generated the corresponding. Output writer means output writer is a role to write down the reduced output into stable storage. MapReduce API, we learn about like a classes and method used to program MapReduce. MapReduce mapper class in the MapReduce in a role of a mapper class is to map key value pair input to a set of key value pair intermediate. So mapper class methods means where a cleanup context. This method is called only once at the end of the task. Reducer class. The role of reducer class in MapReduce is to reduce the set of intermediate value. Reducer class method where the cleanup. This method is called at only the end of the task. MapReduce job class, and the job class is used and submit the configure and work the execution is also controlled and state queried. So method job class like a count, get a counters, long get finish time, job get instance, job get instance. Okay, so these are the so many. So MapReduce like a word count examples. In the examples MapReduce word count we find data frequency and each word. Execute a MapReduce count like this one. So it's a very easy and the simple. So I will try to do the practicals also. Next I will try to like a HBase. HBase it's a basic well the advantage the HBase concept. So like HBase is the open source framework which Apache provides, and it is a data form a store map built in on Hadoop. So it is oriented towards the column and horizontally scalable. So our HBase chapters covers all Apache HBase topics with the HBase data models, HBase read, HBase write, HBase mem stores, like a memory stores, HBase installations, RDMS, HBase commands, HBase example etc. So Hadoop and Java before the learning. So HBase is a design the essence to look like this. So built in on Hadoop, HBase is the open source and store map data. Store map data. So it's oriented towards the column and horizontally scalable. So HBase provides API that allows for development in virtually any programming language. It is based on big table Google. It has set of table that keep the data key value. So let's see the HBase is suitable for sparse data sets which are very common in the case of the big data uses. So HBase means uses like a RDBMS slow exponentially as the data gets big. Expect highly structured data, ability to fit within well-defined schemes. Any schema change could require a downtime and too much overhead to keeping null value sparse data. What is the characteristics means it's the automatic failover. So horizontally scalable, and it does not enforce the relationship inside your informations. So these are the basic characteristics. HBase reads like HBase read must be reconciled between the H file, memory storage, and blockage. So let's see HBase writes means by default when a write mode it goes to two places, write ahead log WAL, H log In memory writes buffer and memory stores. Each base, it's a, you can say the memory stores. So we can create a RDBMS and via the HBase. So RDBMS schema database, it can be compared with the HBase name space. So you can compare the table RDBMS to the column and family in the HBase. You can compare records like a table joins in RDBMS to record in the HBase. HBase, so many examples like you can create jar file. Okay, so it's a following code here. So these are the value. Next, the H Hives. Hives like Apache Hives is a Hadoop data warehouse system running SQL like a queries called SQL Hive query language, which is converted internally to map reduce job. Hive was developed through the Facebook's. Hive is a data warehouse system use structured data to be analyzed. It is a Facebook's and created. Hive provides the read, write, handle massive datasets residing in distributed storage. It runs SQL like a SQL Hive query language. It converted internally map reduce jobs. So using Hive, we can skip the traditional approach requirement for writing complex map reduce programs. Hive supports data definition language DDL, user defined functional UDF, data manipulation language DML. So these are the part of the SQL, but Hive it's a correlated with the like a good correlations with the Hives and SQL. So Hives is the fast and they can be scaled. It provides a query similar to SQL and SQL, so which is the implicitly transformed into MapReduce or Spark job. It can analyze the large data sets which are stored in HDFS. It allows the various types of data including the plain text and other things. So these are the basic way. Hives and pigs data analysis is the usually used Hive. Pig generally use the programs. Hive follow the queries similar to SQL. Pig follow the language of the data follows. Hive is able to manage the structured data. Pig can handle the data which are the semi-structures. Hive works HDFS cluster servers. Pig works HDFS cluster client. Hive is lighter than pigs. Pig is faster than Hives. These are the compare regions and we can try. So Hive client means Hive lets write the applications in a different language, include a Java, Python, C++, and it supports. So other like a Hive service like Hive CLI, the Hive CLI like a command line interface is a cell where the Hive's query and command executed. So let's see here, just Hive types are data classified the numerical types, strings, miscellaneous other like a complex types of data we can just use here. So these are the basics and I will try to understand. So you can, so let's see just Spark machine learning. So something is like if you are using like a Spark machine learning, pip install PySpark and just after that from PySpark.sql import Spark session, Spark like a Spark session dot builder dot app names and inside just double quotations and go dot get or create. SC will equal to Spark dot Spark context and SQL context will equal to the Spark. Now import the PySpark machine learning because we are using here the machine learning. From the PySpark machine learning dot feature import the binizers if you are going to binarize this data. Data types means local vectors. So numpy I have imported, import the science PySpark as SPS and from the PySpark.mlib linear algebra importer vectors. Let's create here the numpy array dense vectors. So dv1 just mp dot array, and I have created another dv2 I have created, and sv1 like a vector dot sparse I have created. So use as a single column science pi css matrices as a sparse vector. So sv2 sbs and dot csc underscore matrix. So np dot array, np dot array, np dot array. So these are the codes so we have created, and I will try to uh, I have already solved so many things, so but I will try to discuss in the next class. So as part machine learning, and so thank you for in this video. Thank you very much.